Mic check. Mic check. So we got a. I got I got my microphone turned up loud, so that's what people request. You might possibly hear a fucking ice cream truck outside my window, but I'm about to drown all that out with some music in a sec. So, as you can tell by the title, today we talking about the FCC and hold up. Yeah, all right. So we talking about the FCC. Now, the FCC is the Federal Communications Commission, I believe. Yeah, the Federal Communications Commission. So they're basically in charge of what gets aired on the radio, what gets aired on TV. I think they're also supposed to screen all advertisements. Um, I don't I don't know what they do other than that. All I know is that um, I don't think I learned about them in high school or middle school at all, but I did learn about them when I was trying to do this radio DJ program. And then even before that, I heard about them when it came to not allowing like certain episodes of shows I used to watch. A couple rappers had lawsuits or got fined by the FCC. So those are times in the past when I'd heard about the FCC or just heard whispers about them. But they're actually a commission that is basically part of the government, from what I remember. Um, I'm actually gonna pull up what they do in a little bit, but um, as of right now, even before I pull that up, I believe that they're. See, that's the thing. One thing I want to talk about today is that shit's different. Like, I'm thinking back to when we used to watch TV on cable, and then DVR came out. Like those times when everyone was really watching TV, and the FCC was in charge of all that. But now that everything's streaming and done on your phone, and a lot of people are watching YouTube instead of TV, it's a little bit different now. But I believe that they still oversee all that shit. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. But I think that the FCC still oversees all that shit. And my whole thing is, in the future, as technology advances even more, are they still going to have that same grasp on these things that they do now? And at the same time too, even right now, due to the way things are happening, a lot of people are basically questioning whether or not their freedom of speech is being tampered with, stuff like that. I mean, to be honest though, as far as music goes, especially hip hop, that's been a thing for a while. I'm gonna pull up some articles about previous battles of rap groups or rappers against the FCC. And we're not gonna dig super deep in it. I'm not going into a rabbit hole, but I'm basically gonna try to pull up a couple things that in themselves are rabbit holes, but they all synchronize and connect. And then even within that too, like, I still don't have all the facts. I still don't have all the information. I just know that I have a couple books behind me about DJing, radio DJing, and then how like record labels and contracts working on stuff. And in each of those, in two of those books, they briefly mention the FCC, but they're not talking about any foul, crazy shit the FCC has done. And then even before that, I do want to point out that in a way, a lot of people probably haven't noticed this, but in a way, the FCC kind of is in charge of the shift of music, specifically with hip hop. I feel like a lot of people have structured songs to try to get them approved by the FCC in order to get them on radio, and a lot of people compromise their self-expression within that. And even as a side effect from that, a lot of people's music production isn't creative. A lot of people are trying to sell you the same number one hit song. And what up, Duda? So the reason why I'm pointing that out is because even before I talk about the shit that I'm going to talk about, last live I did, I briefly mentioned that I had a Spotify playlist. So I wanted to show people something with Spotify that's recent. Actually, maybe it's not recent. I don't know when this got added, but it's new to me. So here we go. Bam. This is the Spotify playlist that I pulled up in the last live I did when I talked about it real briefly. But this icon that's right here, I never made that. All these artworks were pretty much put together by me except for the album cover for the Poison Apple. But I never made that. I forgot what they call that shit, but I never made that thing. So when I saw this, I was like, what the fuck? And I realized that you can just basically preview and just like scroll through the whole playlist basically without having to hear all the songs. And I remember not that long ago I was kind of talking about something like not on a live though, but I was talking about something like this, like, damn, that would be dope as fuck if people could just preview the playlist rather than having to go through the whole thing, because this way they could cycle different songs within a short period of time. So that's basically something that I never set up. They just did this shit for me. And the thing is, there's a reason why I put the playlist the way I put it. Like it's a whole bunch of different types of songs just randomly from my library, because this is only like a small percentage of my total music that I've ever made. So like all these songs are all different, but the purpose of me bringing this up is because I wanted to point out that all the songs are different, not trying to chase FCC regulations. They're all different because at the end of the day, it's supposed to be a depiction of the legacy and also a piece of how your mental is. So I'm just going to scroll through these songs real quick. We're going to hear a whole bunch of different sounds in a short period of time, but I'm not going to scroll through every single song. This is just like a little taste. But even before I do that, I want y'all to know that I don't know exactly what pieces of songs they chose. One of these songs is a 20-minute song that's actually like 7 different songs in it. It's like a little mix. So I don't know what piece of that they selected. So we're basically just rolling the dice on what people are going to hear right now. But the reason why I want to point this out is because I can freely do this. All my music that I made was within the lines of what the FCC allows anyway. And at the same time, all these beats are original. I made all these beats from scratch. I didn't sample nothing. And because of that, I'm able to freely play this on live on YouTube right now without it getting blicked. I don't have to worry about none of that shit. And this is all the result of just planning ahead. Just planning ahead. Yeah, so that previous song was like more of like a skateboard video type of song, and then this song is basically just me just playing instruments. This isn't a hip-hop track, but this is the intro to the Poison Apple, which is an album I still gotta finish. I'm almost done with it. I need to figure out why my music program isn't putting out sounds. Yeah, this one right here, this is my theme song. This some old shit.
It always comes back to us. We're too busy stacking up. Put all you niggas on a tour together, then we gon' crash the bus. Anyone who survives gets addicted to hash and dust. Tell those bitches suck dick, she ain't getting cash from us. On it's showtime, now your ass is just faceless. Y'all make club songs, going back to the basics. Influencing little kids to get trashed to get wasted.
So this one right here, this one's called Censorship. And I'm not going to pull this album up today, but even what I'm about to talk about today, the title of this album was kind of based off the shit that we're talking about today. Crazy. Like I literally kind of like knew that eventually this type of shit would happen.
Is making rappers run magic attic, acrobatic, swinging from an aqueduct. About to bring hits on a showtime, now your ass is just faceless. Y'all make club songs, going back to the basics.
Yeah, a lot of I had Reason and I had pre-Sonus Studio One, except neither of those programs is working right now. I don't know what the fuck happened with Studio One, and then Reason, it's not outputting sounds for some reason, so I gotta figure that shit out. But Reason is what I use, and then I also have external shit that I pull from like instruments into the computer. But this one I made this whole one on Reason. This one's called Prometheus. This shit's fire. I like this one. Yeah, I like this one a lot too. Yeah, I haven't heard this shit in a minute. It's crazy how they like cut up little pieces of it and like just got that shit. And then like you can add the song to your queue or to your play. Like, I think that shit's so lit.
Hit the floor, now I'm swimming on my carpet. I'm more dizzy than a kid that's spinning on a target. My head in the fish tank, talking to a goldfish. The laughing man returned, I'm back on my old ish. I'm walking down the street like Metal Gear Solid. I'm talking on this beat and it's meant to feel brolic. Mentally connecting with the century's prophets. Told us not to.
Yeah, this is from later in the song.
The ones who got evil plots to poison us with media and let the poor people rot. They want to lock brothers up, so goodbye to legal pot. I never feed the block, bags of lethal and hit the floor. Now I'm swimming.
Yeah, so the whole point of that is basically to show that if the FCC wasn't structured the way it is, people would have a little bit more freedom, especially when it comes to hip hop, because hip hop is the number one form of music to get attacked. So the one of the reasons why I even made this playlist, this is only a small percentage of my music. This is all music that's deemed safe, but at the same time, when it's all put together or layered together in a playlist, this is basically a bunch of different sounds. Like, I'm not gonna play this whole shit, but I tried to put a whole bunch of songs together that sound pretty different and kind of in a way just like mash together a vast array of just different styles and sounds. But last week on and I'm not into the whole political side of this, but I do have to run this just to kind of show like my angle on like kind of what I see going on. So Jimmy Kimmel got pulled off the air over, I kind of want to call it a trap, but realistically what happened was he I'm not even gonna say made comments, but he basically aired footage of something that someone else did and made a joke out of their lack of empathy. And a lot of people twisted that up into making it seem as if Jimmy Kimmel was speaking wrongly about a countrywide tragedy that recently happened on a college campus that really should have had metal detectors. But anyways, they kind of wanted to twist it up and make it seem as if it was something that he did wrong in order to push a specific agenda. And I'm really glad that on his return, he did. By the way, this is a legendary comedian who used to be on the Man Show in the 90s, early 2000s with Adam Carolla. Both of them are very successful and both of them have very successful careers. Both of them are part of a community that's very deep in Hollywood, I will say. But aside from that, Jimmy Kimmel is very talented, very, very comedic. But one thing I don't like, and this isn't his fault, but one thing I don't like is currently right now, I feel like any topic in the fucking world is branched into politics now, no matter what. Even this shit right now, like this thing, like there's no connection between his TV show and the president whatsoever, period. But it's crazy that the president has made himself a connection to this TV show, and now they're at war, basically. And it's crazy that when he first came back, which is what I'm about to show right now, I like how he spoke about his situation, but at the same time, the way he opened this door up kind of clicked in my head. I was like, yo, what the fuck? Because I remember when I was doing my radio DJ program, which ended up being a scam, but one of the most important lessons that we learned there was about the FCC and basically having to be within their guidelines and this and that. It's crazy how like within these last couple years, shit has gotten so twisted to now like you're either on this side or you're on that side. Even if you find a movie that you like, such as Sinners, there's going to be a whole other side group that's not like us, basically arguing down every single accomplishment that shit gets, not being able to see from the eyes of someone who happens to be closer to the person or creator of the property. The reason I say this is because this is a man who made a movie, a horror movie, which is, I believe, his first, and reached outside of the thought outside of the box, and basically got dissed. Media platforms, newspaper platforms, a lot of them couldn't even give him credit for having a creative thought and turning it into a movie, breaking a record with that movie on top of it. A lot of people just want to shit on it. And right now it feels like everything is basically, it's not everyone coming together. Like the politics have to play into it somehow, which is crazy. So it's kind of like if you and some guy who happen to live on the other side of your city are at a soccer game and each of your kids are on the same team, and you guys that team just won, and like you put your hand up for a high five to all the fathers, and then you got to think about the percentage of fathers that are just gonna ignore that high five because you happen to be of a different political party. That's the type of shit I'm talking about right now. Like is basically, as of right now, I feel like everything, including this shit I'm about to run, is just so like connected and deeply woven into politics now.
I've had the opportunity to meet and spend time with comedians and talk show hosts from countries like Russia, countries in the Middle East, who tell me they would get thrown in prison for making fun of those in power, and worse than being thrown in prison. They know how lucky we are here. Our freedom to speak is what they admire most about this country.
That's a fact. I mean, I haven't been outside of the country to the places that he's talking about, but we know that that's a fact.
And that's something I'm embarrassed to say I took for granted until they pulled my friend Steven off the air and tried to...
So even that too, the way they pulled Stephen Colbert off the air, and I'm really glad that they united on an episode this week or yesterday. I think today's October 1st. So like I think yesterday on the 30th, I think they united. But either way, like it's crazy how our president is at war with talk show hosts. Meanwhile, China, they got their whole fucking military lined out, marching down the street with no assassination attempts whatsoever. They don't have to worry about none of the shit that we got going on in our country, looking like a fucking mess. Like they just storming out there like how a military is supposed to. We're over here looking at that shit and then going back to fucking fat shame our generals. Like, what the fuck are we doing, bro? Like what's going on? But like I said, like I don't even want to get this shit so woven in the politics. Even this situation right here, like it shouldn't even be a fucking thing, bro.
To coerce the affiliates who run our show in the cities that you live in to take my show off the air. That's not legal. That's not American. That is un-American, and it is so dangerous.
And he's not lying about that. He is not lying about that. And even before I get into that, I remember back in the day, NWA had issues with the FCC. And it's so funny because even when I try to just type that shit into Google, the first thing this shit told me was to properly compare NWA versus FCC, one must consider which organizations the acronyms refer to. And at that point, I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? NWA versus FCC. as to each has multiple meanings. Recent news shows the National Weather Association had an issue with the FCC, the National Association of Broadcasters. Like all these commissions have something against the FCC. The National Weather Association, the National Wrestling Alliance, NWA, niggas with attitudes. That's really what I was looking for. And yeah, I remember back in the day when they made F the Police. I don't know if that's mentioned right here. So it says the FCC did not directly target NWA. However, the FBI sent a warning letter to the group's record label, Priority Records, in 1989 over the lyrics to the song F the Police. The album was also subject to newly implemented parental advisory label. Yeah, I think the FCC was behind that part, behind the parental advisory. And that's the thing, like I'm not even against that. Like that makes sense because the FCC is supposed to regulate. So we're not against regulation. It's just the fucking the widths at which they're trying to regulate, specifically hip hop, because it feels like they let all types of shit slide past them, but hip hop, we gotta attack the fuck out of that within its within its infant stage. This was a cultural and free speech dispute with the group's reality rap pushing against established norms and drawing scrutiny from government agencies. So that's the thing. The reason why I want to bring that up is because a lot of people today, a lot of these hip hop media people today don't understand how important this issue, this whole fucking situation was to where we are now. If NWA didn't go against the FBI and the FCC in order to get that free speech issue talked about, we'd be fucked over. And shout outs to Public Enemy as well, because these were yeah, exactly, Duda. The folks in power make it complicated to flex their power. Yeah, it's all fucked up. And like NWA, Public Enemy, KRS-One and BDP, like they all spoke out against or wanted freedom of speech. They wanted free speech, because the thing is, like, before NWA, no one was able to really give that point of view that they had on music. And even right now, I feel that same way with this YouTube content. I feel that same way because there's all types of shit going on out here, and no one's able to speak on it. I'm not saying no one's speaking on it, but no one's able to speak on it because all the interests are specifically spotlighted on something specific that doesn't really because that they don't get to cover the vast variety of the issues and even accomplishments that are happening in not just LA but just areas in general. So the FCC has kind of been in a couple situations where people felt like their freedom of speech was being tampered with, and this Kimmel thing is kind of an example of that a little bit.
What do you think about this? Should the government be allowed to regulate which podcasts the cell phone companies and Wi-Fi providers are allowed to let you download to make sure they serve the public interest? You think that sounds crazy? No! 10 years ago, this sounded crazy. Brendan Carr, the chairman of the FCC, telling an American company, we can do this the easy way or the hard way, and that these companies can find ways to change conduct and take action on Kimmel, or there's going to be additional work for the FCC ahead. In addition to being a direct violation of the First Amendment, is not a particularly intelligent threat to make in public. Ted Cruz said he sounded like a mafioso.
So my whole thing is the FCC never ever, they would just do their shit. They would never speak out or even have a fucking voice. So it's crazy that they're trying so hard and exhausting resources. They're probably even putting money into the shit trying to get Kimmel off the air. And that's the thing, like, if Kimmel was doing some Kanye shit, yeah, I would be all for trying to get him off the air. But until that day happens, because it's like, I literally seen Kanye do his shit and they just released a fucking documentary about the nigga. So I don't understand what breach of contract the FCC thinks they see here, but there's other shit that y'all need to focus on. And this is an example of that.
Although, I don't know, if you want to hear a mob boss make a threat like that, you have to hide a microphone in a deli and park outside in a van with a tape recorder all night long. This genius said it on a podcast. Brendan Carr is the most embarrassing car Republicans have embraced since this one.
Damn.
That's saying something. The FCC, but it wasn't always like this. There was an FCC commissioner back in 2022 who worked under Joe Biden who was spot on. He wrote, President Biden is right. Political satire is one of the oldest and most important forms of free speech. It challenges those in power while using humor to draw more people into the discussion. That's why people in influential positions have always targeted it for censorship.
That's absolutely right. And not that first line, but political satire is one of the oldest and most important forms of free speech. Hip hop isn't political satire, but some songs kind of are political satire in the sense that they show that a lot of the political shit is satire. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I remember at when I was working at this garden place, someone pulled up in a Cybertruck, and I glanced at it, but that shit has nothing to do with me. I don't give a fuck. One of my coworkers, this old ass man, this dude was so old though. Like, he was kind of out of touch, so I guess I understand. But he's like nudging me on the shoulder, like, yeah, what do you think of that Cybertruck? It's ugly, huh? It's like the dude who owns this shit could be anywhere around us, but you're asking me this shit as if my opinion on this ugly ass $50,000 truck, $50 plus $1,000 truck even fucking matters. But I just remember thinking to myself, like, this was literally an example of what hype is. Like, just hype. It's like, this car is so out of my interest that of course someone has to ask me about this shit. Like, I was so irritated getting asked about this ugly, like the ugliest truck in the entire fucking world. I was so irritated getting asked about this shit. And the reason why I say hype is because I pulled up a YouTube video of someone going to the Tesla diner. Because I'm not going to the Tesla diner. Like, we be at Marathon Burger over fucking Tesla diner every day. But looking at the menu of the Tesla diner made me sick. I was like, bruh, this is all they fucking got? Like, what? Like, this is all they got, and they charging you $20 for a slice of pecan pie, and I'm just like, bro, what the fuck? Like, pull up to Taco Bell, you get steak tacos cheap as hell. The fucking the corn tortilla is fried, like, shit is fire. But like, they running scams with this hype, straight up. Like, they getting all this money out of people. So this right here, political satire is one of the oldest and most important forms of free speech. It challenges those in power. It challenges those in power while using humor to draw more people into the discussion. That's why people in influential positions have always targeted it for censorship. So that album that I showed right before this was titled Censorship, because I fucking knew back then when I was doing exactly what I was talking about earlier, making the songs that are safe within the guidelines of the FCC, but also not compromising my creative expression. And because of that shit, people always have something negative to say about any music I made. My ex-girlfriend, oh, the beats are too dark. Even when I play happy beats, she ain't there to hear them. As far as the lyrics, everything is well written. Topics galore. Slightly touched on politics a little bit, made predictions about what the future will be like, and I'm glad to say that a lot of the things that I wrote that were specifically that to be predictions of the future ended up being exactly that, or ended up being exactly what happened. But as far as hip hop goes, like, I feel like the FCC is kind of the reason why a lot of shit on the radio is fucking stupid, because a lot of people are making these dumb ass songs that fit within the guidelines of, oh, okay, we're promoting sex, but at the same time, we're not using all the most raunchy words to describe it. But as you can tell, over the last 20 years, the bad words that are allowed on TV has changed, because I remember when I was a kid, you couldn't say ass on TV, you couldn't say bitch on the radio, you couldn't say ass on the radio, and what other word do they let fly now? They let a couple words fly, but I know that ass, they let you say that on the radio. Mystical, shake it. Mystical and Pharrell, shake your ass. Like, I was surprised when they let that shit. But the FCC is in charge of all that, and like, my whole thing is, when I was a kid, I used to cuss a lot, but at the same time, even right now, I don't think bitch should be allowed on the radio though, or in commercials. And that's the one complicated thing now too, because it's like a game trailer comes out. The game trailer, it's showing a montage of a whole bunch of different scenes, but in the background of one scene, the editor didn't notice that one of the characters is slipping out the word bitch, and now all of a sudden that trailer is exposed to all the little kids who are interested in that video game, and all because of one person's mistake that flew over corporate's head, HR's head, everyone's head. Now that shit's released to the public, and it's like, the FCC, I don't know if they really have the same control over that type of stuff that they used to, but this statement right here, this is powerful. This means something.
You know who wrote that? FCC Commissioner Brendan Carr.
Never mind. Maybe it don't mean shit now. So basically what Jimmy Kimmel just told us is that this dude who got promoted under the Trump advisory administration, whatever you want to call it, was originally the person under President Biden who wrote this. But now currently he's basically saying that we can do this the easy way or the hard way, get Kimmel off the air, blah, blah, blah. And it kind of ties into what I was saying earlier about how the politics is deeply woven into all this shit. And it's just crazy how it's gotten there. This was a statement or a tweet that he said back in 2022.
Who later was appointed chairman of the FCC by this former crusader for free speech.
If we don't have free speech, then we just don't have a free country. It's as simple as that. If this most fundamental right is allowed to perish, then the rest of our rights and liberties will topple, just like dominoes, one by one. They'll go down.
That was also in 2022. And I wonder, how did that guy turn into this guy?
Who would you like to see replace Kimmel on late night?
Well, a lot of people, anybody could replace him. The guy had no talent. Kimmel had, look, he was fired, he had no talent. He's a whack job, but he had no talent. And more importantly than talent, he had no, because a lot of people have no talent, they get ratings. But he had no ratings.
He spoke about him like he died. He spoke about Kimmel like that nigga died or something. Like, damn, that shit would low-key piss me off if the president was speaking about me like that. Nigga, I'd be hot. Like, I'd be fucking hot. I'd be fucking pissed.
Well, I do tonight.
Damn. All right. So yeah, shout outs to Jimmy Kimmel. Congrats on that. But we're gonna stray away from that. So I don't know what I might be wrong, but I think he's on ABC. I think ABC is his company, and I think they're owned by Disney, and Disney is owned by Trump, and Trump is owned by this. Like, that's really what it is. It's crazy. It's like a breach of command now. Like, everything is so deeply woven into politics. And the reason I say this is because Disney, like, there's all types of pressure, and the pressure comes from the money, and the money, like, it's all fucked up. But Paramount, oh fuck, I might be fucking this all up. I know that they try to get rid of Stephen Colbert. He's still on the air, but he's about to be off soon at the end of his contract or whatever. And South Park is done by the company that I think Stephen Colbert's on, so they might be on the chopping block too. But while they're up, they're doing their shit, and it's crazy because it's like, at this point in time, because of all the shit that's going on within this year and all these incidents and tragedies and this and that, and artists and TV shows and creators speaking out, it kind of shows that this person who's in office is the problem, but no one's going to admit that. Everyone's just going to try to point the finger. But the thing is, like, why is it that now, out of all these years, like, we done had Boondocks, we had Robot Chicken, we had all these fucking different shows and cartoons, none of them ever had to talk about politics. But now all of a sudden every fucking show has to talk about politics. And like, I'm not on a specific side. I'm just saying, like, this shit is getting out of hand. Like everything is politics now. Like, I'm surprised that shit ain't taking over hip hop yet. Like, like Kodak Black ain't dropped an album since he said that he was voting for Trump. Like, but everything is politics now, even South Park. But there's a reason why South Park has to do it, because they're in, let's see, I think they got bought by a company that's like woven into this shit somehow, and they're possibly on a chopping block. So while they're still remaining, they're basically making all their episodes about how the administration is a piece of shit. And this video that I'm about to play, I'm not about to play the whole thing, but this is by a dude named Brian Tyler Cohen. So he basically took clips from Kimmel and from South Park before he starts talking about the FCC chairman and Trump. My whole thing is, I'm just talking about the FCC, so I'm pretty much only going to play the part where South Park made fun of the FCC.
An offensive government app? I better go speak with the president right away. Oh, there you are, Mr. President. I need to talk to you.
Yeah, so I remember back in the day, the South Park movie, the niggas had Satan, and he was married to Saddam Hussein. And now Trump is with him. What a surprise. What a surprise.
No, Brendan Carr, don't.
Whoa!
The FCC guy must have shitty ankles.
Mr. President, I really need to speak with you.
Not now, Brendan Carr.
Damn, that's funny. That's the same exact voice that they had for Saddam. What are they trying to say? Oh, shit. Our president's a dictator.
Satan won't eat his carrots.
Oh, come on, Satan. You're eating for two now. Carrots are good for you, see?
Nah, Brendan Carr, don't do it.
Oh, wow. This is the best soup ever. Oh, God. Oh!
Wow.
That nigga Satan laying in that bed looking like King Pill.
Much better.
Brendan Carr.
Mr. Carr, can you hear me? We understand you're head of the FCC.
This makes me want to get Paramount and start watching South Park again.
All right, well, I'm very sorry, but you do appear to have toxoplasmosis from exposure to cat feces. We need you to get some rest. Try not to move.
We're the head of the FCC.
Oh, they
okay,
got
Doctor?
that nigga Vance looking like a
His
fuck.
bones are healing, so he may regain full range of motion. But if the toxoplasmosis parasite gets to his brain, I'm afraid he may lose his freedom of speech.
He may lose his freedom
We'll
of
do
speech.
everything we can.
Damn. And of course, they turned this nigga into a villain. But it's just funny how, damn, they got the worst pictures of all these cats to run that fucking segment. So I'm about to click out of that too. But shout outs to this dude who made this video, because what he talks about, he talks about some good shit. But my whole thing is the FCC. This is the Federal Communications Commission. So what does the FCC do? What do we do? The FCC regulates interstate and international commissions by radio, television, wire, satellite, and cable in all 50 states. The District of Columbia and U.S. territories. Yeah, I gotta tap back in with South Park too. Like that shit. Like right now, they've been going ham, and I'm gonna have to just catch all that shit some other time whenever the season's done. an independent U.S. government agency overseen by Congress. The Commission and the United States primary authority for communications, law, regulation, and technological innovation. In its work facing economic opportunities and challenges associated with rapidly evolving advances in global communications, the agency capitalizes on its competencies in promoting competition, innovation, and investment in broadband services and facilities, supporting the nation's economy by ensuring an appropriate competitive framework for the unfolding of communications revolution, encouraging the highest and best use of spectrum domestically and internationally, revising media regulations so that new technologies flourish alongside diversity and localism. False. That diversity part, false. Providing leadership and strengthening the defense of the nation's communications infrastructure. Yeah, so they don't have, what I was trying to find is what, like, when it comes to an artist, like, I was trying to find the guidelines of what their song has to be within to be or to be approved by the FCC for radio. I might have to bookmark this and try to look through that shit later. I might try to post it, but either way, like, this is a commission that is overseen by Congress, so this is part of the government, which I'm not surprised by because that's always been what it is. But like the whole, like, I forgot what Brennan Carr's position was, but I think he's like the chairman or some shit. But it's crazy to get on a podcast and like speak about anything regarding that. Like, you do that shit at your desk. Like, that's always what the FCC has been, like, during all eras. Like, it's crazy how now all of a sudden the administration, like, everything is changing. Like a fucking car manufacturing engineer can work at the White House now and then quit within 6 months. And who the fuck knows what resources or information he took from that place, which was probably his whole point from the beginning. Like everybody's so worried about was it gang violence? What, like like, ain't no one paying attention to the fact that we had UFOs flying all in the sky, all over the news, all up until the fucking election, and then all of a sudden that shit disappeared. Meanwhile, we have a car manufacturer hopping in and out of office as if this nigga was just working seasonal. And like, we're so worried about spies from China and shit. Meanwhile, this is going on in front of everyone's fucking face. And like, the brainwashing, all the swaying in the media and on social media to get people to vote for everything that's happening right now. Everything that's happening right now was listed in the fucking, or I shouldn't say everything, but a lot of the mentality of the administration right now was listed in the fucking Project 2025 document. And I remember I pulled up like one page of that shit on one of my lives, but no one watched that shit. And that just let me know that no one really had interest in any of that shit. And that's the reason why we're in the fucking situation we're in now. And like, later this year when everyone, or not even this year, next year when everyone has to protest and shit, I'm just gonna be sitting watching that shit on my TV. Like, damn, this is crazy. It didn't have to get this far eating popcorn. It's like, man, if everybody would have voted for something other than this, which we've already seen before about 6 years ago, it wouldn't be what it is now. But it is what it is now. And it is what it is. So the FCC rules prohibit, this is just an AI overview, so this ain't facts, but the FCC rules prohibit the broadcast of obscene content at any time and indecent or profane content during safe harbor hours from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. That's one of the main things that I learned when I was within the radio program that I was the radio scam that I was taking a part of, I guess, that I was a victim of. But it's so funny how as soon as I go live, that's when like Discord starts fucking popping. Like, now I can't even fucking mute this shit right now because I'm live. This is so fucking funny. But the FCC, like, that's the main thing that I learned is basically from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. is what they call safe harbor hours, and that's when they really control like all the like, or that's when they really have the most control on like what's played in like what's regulated, I guess. And then after that, like when it's leaning closer to midnight, that's when they're able to that's when they're able to hold up, I gotta turn this shit off. I would have thought that would turn that shit off. All right, nah, that's not working. There we go. All right, so back to what I was saying. Yeah, because I'm not sure if y'all could hear that shit, but like that's fucking crazy. That's the reason why I don't be on no fucking servers. But the FCC, what up, Keita? The FCC, the from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. is basically their safe arbor hours, and that's really when they run the most regulations. And then basically like closer to midnight is when like there's a little bit more freedom of what radio is allowed to play. So like I was saying earlier, like I'm not really with the radio allowing like the B word, TV as well. TV like. Yeah, like TV as well, like cartoons, for example, radio, like during the day, them allowing the B word, like I'm not really with that because of the kids. Like when I was a kid, they weren't allowed that, like they would bleep that out, like they would bleep all that shit. But I feel like now with TV, I forgot what example I had, but I like there used to be a show I used to watch and they let bitch fly. Now it would make sense if in the 90s they played Jamie Foxx show during the day, and then after 11 p.m. if they happen to run like a nighttime program or something like that, and they had episodes that weren't cut the same way where they did allow like the B word to slide and shit like that, that's cool. I'm not tripping. But yeah, the FCC, like this is basically their job. But the thing is, like ever since social media got bigger, everything went to streaming. I don't know if they have that same grasp on what they are able to control. But either way, like I feel, and maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like the FCC, I feel like they let a lot of shit slide, and it really depends on what hands it's coming from. For example, I remember they censored the fuck out of hip hop. They tried to fine Eminem for some shit. They tried to fine Eminem for some shit back in the day, but the thing is, like, if it comes to dubstep, like they'll let them sample whatever the fuck they want. They'll let them sample a fucking Tommy gun going off and put that in the song and shit. There's not as much yellow tape and restrictions on anything that's not black music. If it's black music, it's gonna be restricted as fuck. Oh no, you gotta go. You gotta make sure that your hands are clean whenever you make your songs in your studio. But these people over here, the Suicide Boys, man, we love them over here. That type of shit. And shout out to the Suicide Boys, but that type of shit. I see a lot of rappers able to clout chase after deaths, if that makes sense, without any restrictions. I literally saw a white rapper make an apologetic song the day after Charlie Kirk passed away, R.I.P. But basically made a song as if like he wanted to take everyone's hope and put it into a letter and apologize to the country and put that shit out in order to get himself some fucking views. And that shit worked. Everyone ate that shit up. I saw that shit get like 1 million views. I thought about doing the same shit. I was like, man, I ain't never been on Charlie Kirk's side, but maybe I should write a song and produce the beat and show how I wish the world would change and get better while still keeping all our guns the way they are. But yeah, it's kind of like people use that type of shit to sway now. It's like, yo, like, man, this is so sad. This has nothing to do with me, but if I do this action today, I can get me 100 million views, and those views will translate to this much money, because they always have a spreadsheet. But they're not going to show you that. They're going to try to look as apologetic as possible in order to get the attention of all the viewers. But the FCC, like, that's the type of shit they got to look at, rather than trying to restrict hip hop like a fucking anaconda. So I don't know if this was it, but I know that. Oh, okay, yeah, this is about the Eminem shit. I don't know why this shit's showing up purple highlighted. I didn't do that. But oh, now I know. Yeah, because I clicked on the link and it was highlighting the part. So basically, I'm gonna read the whole shit. Federal regulator. This was back in 2002. Federal regulators on Tuesday reversed themselves and said they would not impose a $7,000 indecency fine on a Colorado Springs radio station for airing a version of rap singer Eminem's "The Real Slim Shady." That's crazy. So this isn't a lawsuit against Eminem. This is against a fucking Colorado Springs radio station, which might have possibly even been a fucking college radio station. These motherfuckers is going out of their way to find these cats. And $7,000 back in 2002 was a hard $7,000. You had to sell at least a week of ass to get that $7,000. And this radio station, that's probably what they had to do, because radio don't make no fucking money. Radio don't make no fucking money. Man, like I forgot the rapper's name, but I think I bookmarked him somewhere, and it's this white dude who looks just like I don't even want to do that to Macklemore. He don't look like Macklemore. He has Macklemore's eyes, but he's like this. He's like their superhero. He's like their Superman. He's just this white rapper who's a trumper. And like this nigga got a song with Ben Shapiro, and that's how I'm always gonna be able to find him, because of that Ben Shapiro shit. Because I forgot his name. None of their names are memorable, except I can type in Ben Shapiro and easily find the rapper who did the song with him. But that's the rapper who did a Charlie Kirk apologetic "I'm sorry this happened to you" song in order to get everybody on that side to watch his video and get some more money, so that way he could park a Trump Tesla, like we saw in the video, outside his garage for his next music video. Like, yeah, son, I bought that Tesla that was in Poltergeist's video because he said that we were stupid as fuck for this shit, so I went and bought it with my Ben Shapiro song money, son, because I'm hard, son. Last night I was watching this video of Dave Chappelle. He was basically talking about this crazy fucking story. I shouldn't say crazy. Let me rephrase that. It was a story that basically showed how many people he knows. And this story was from, I think around the same time, like 2006. Let me think about this. I can't remember what year his show aired, but this was basically a story that took place right after he came back from Africa, not that long after. What up, Siseko? This was a story that took place like right when he came back, right when Dave Chappelle came back from Africa back in, I forgot what year that was, but after his show stopped. But it was a wild story, and someone took the story, because I guess he was telling it in one of his stand-up comedies, and someone took the story and AI generated like a cartoon to kind of like show that, like, it was dope as fuck. I was blown away. I was like, damn, I think this has been the best way I've seen AI generation used, because like it would basically show the people that are in the story, and then like the frame, it would just basically just kind of zoom in slowly until he talked about the next part, and then it would show the next picture with like all the other people. But it was dope as fuck. It basically showed all these political figures he basically met a lot of political figures that are all prominent today, but back in 2005 or 6 or whatever year that was. But it was dope as fuck because he was able to describe it in a way that turned it into a comedy bit. But the surprise about Face Clear's KKMG FM, which I believe was the radio station, a top 40 radio station, of charges that the station violated Federal Communications Commission rules, barring stations from airing obscene, indecent, or profane language. So the thing is, they played a edited version of Eminem's track, and when they say edited, I'm assuming that it means a clean version. But because of Eminem's lyrics, like I guess. Oh snap! What up? ACOG Club Podcast. What up? What up? But maybe I'm wrong, but I think that at the time, it might have been a radio clean version, or so they tried to get, or so they thought. But Eminem's lyrics at the time were considered obscene and indecent, because the thing with his lyrics is that he's a real rapper. Like, just censoring the word isn't gonna erase the whole image of what he's saying. Like, he was saying him some shit. Eminem's still saying him some shit. One of my first albums I reviewed on my channel was his last album, The Death of Slim Shady. And ooh boy, that album, that they can't play that on the radio. And shout outs to the I think American Music Awards gave him Album of the Year last year, even though at the time, like, I was saying Kendrick most likely should have gotten that, but at the same time, Eminem took a risk with that album. I can't even lie. He took a fucking risk. So yeah, I'm happy he got an award out of that. Like, at first I was kind of like, I thought it was kind of random, but at the same time, like, he should have got awarded for something. I don't know if, you know what, that's what it was. I felt like he shouldn't have got Album of the Year, but that was a good ass album. He took a risk, and I feel like that album was dedicated to the FCC low key. Because when I look at the album like that, it makes a lot more sense. Like, I feel like that was his album where he was like, yeah, the FCC is changing. Maybe he probably saw this ahead of time. Maybe he saw that they was up in Trump's pocket and was like, yeah, you know what, fuck it, let me drop this album. Because that's really what that shit felt like. Broadcasters and free speech advocates had decried the FCC fine when it was issued in June. They said the agency had singled out KKMG for playing an edited version. Oh, okay, I was right. An edited version of Eminem's hit single that hundreds of other top 40 stations also had aired for weeks without incident. After consulting with the executives from KKMG's owner, Citadel Broadcasting, and reviewing Eminem's song again, the FCC's Enforcement Bureau said they agreed with that view. The sexual references contained in the song's radio edit version are not expressed in terms sufficiently explicit or graphic enough to be found patently offensive, the FCC said. So this right here, this part, to me, it looks like they just seagulled in and tried to shut this shit down without really observing what they were trying to shut down. And I feel like overall, that's always been their view towards hip-hop. And I feel like it's also getting intensified now because it's obvious that they are deep into the administration's pockets. I feel like now they're more in compliance than they were with any previous president. I feel like now every government agency is showing their true colors, except the FBI. I feel like they've been the most straight because they've remained the same. They're just going after what they go after. But like all these other organizations are being used to their maximum to accomplish what they're trying to accomplish ain't even working, to be honest. Like, it's not even working. So even while I was trying to figure out or find the FCC rules and all that shit, I ended up stumbling upon this. So Eminem's, this is from Rolling Stone, by the way. Rolling Stone, we all know Rolling Stone. Rolling Stone is like a super music publication. So Eminem's publishing company files copyright lawsuit against Meta. Meta being the owners of Instagram and Facebook. Like, when I saw that, this shit blew my mind. Hold up. This is actually the meat and potatoes. This is the way end of this broadcast because I'm about to stream on Twitch later. But this is the meat and potatoes. Like, when I was looking at all this other shit that I just talked about and I saw this headline, I was like, wait, what? What the fuck? And then when I looked into it, I was like, nigga, what? All right. 8 Mile Style alleges that the company that owns Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp has distributed the rapper's music across its platforms without proper licensing permissions. This is crazy. One thing I don't like about these publications, though, is who the fuck writes this 8 Mile Style? Who the fuck is 8 Mile Style? What the fuck? 8 Mile Style. I know for sure Eminem didn't say, hey, refer to me as 8 Mile Style. I don't know if 8 Mile Style is maybe like the name of a company that he owns. But like that, if that's supposed to be or refer to Eminem, that's crazy. Oh, okay. Eminem's publishing company, 8 Mile Style. That makes a lot more sense for the name of a company than if that was like their new reference name for Eminem. I was about to say, bro, like what the fuck? So that's his publishing company, 8 Mile Style. Eminem's publishing company, 8 Mile Style, has filed a copyright infringement lawsuit against Meta. The suit filed in the U.S. District's current... By the way, this was June 4th, 2025. So this was like a couple months ago. And that's another reason why this surprised me so much. So Eminem's publishing company, 8 Mile Style, has filed a copyright infringement lawsuit against Meta. The suit filed in the U.S. District's Court, Eastern District of Michigan's Southern Division, and reviewed by Rolling Stone, alleges that the company that owns Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp has distributed the rappers' music across its platforms without proper licensing permissions. That is fucking wild. Despite there not being licensed, the recordings of the 8 Mile compositions have been reproduced and synchronized with visual content on Meta's platforms across millions of videos, which have been viewed billions of times. The complaint claims Meta's years-long and ongoing infringement of the 8 Mile compositions is another case of a trillion with a T dollar company exploiting the creative efforts of musical artists for the obscene monetary benefit of its executives and shareholders without a license and without regard to the rights of the owners of the intellectual property. This is fucking nuts. Eminem is such a big artist, and he's absolutely, or they're absolutely right. Like these, all right, for example, like let's say this is correct. Let's say that they didn't get permission to use these. I think it was 100 songs. I don't know if they show the number, but in another headline I saw, it said 100 songs, but these 100 songs are being used in shorts over and over and over and over across this platform. And like these shorts are being used to sell products, energy drinks, to pump streamers, like game streamers and shit. Bruh, that if I was him, I would be so after this bread. This right here sounds like a fucking bag, a Santa Claus bag. This right here is a fucking bag. Like, I can't even describe to you how on a high horse I would be if I was him and this ended up being a thing. If I don't know how they are in court right now, but if they have already proven that this is a thing, that they didn't get permission, and that's the whole thing. Like this is like, all right, let me break it down. Eminem was an artist found by Dr. Dre. There's a reason why Dr. Dre is such a powerful figure in this. As a primarily a producer, he's making more than rappers, like the frontman of the music group. In lots of cases, he's the OG for a reason, and it's because he synced up with the right people. I don't know exactly where he met Jimmy Iovine, but they have lawyers, they have a legal team, they have a fucking legal team, and they've had that legal team for years. It's a miracle that Dr. Dre, Eminem, Snoop, Exhibit, Corrupt, everybody who was on that Chronic 2000 tour, it's a miracle that they still have music careers, because they did some wild shit. They did some wild shit at a wild time. And the fact that Eminem still has a career today and is still dropping like top billboarding albums and tracks, it's a miracle, because they've done some wild shit. But the thing is, people should know, especially if you're Meta, like a fucking company, and that I'm not gonna speak like this is a for sure thing, because the only thing I need to see is just a document from 8 Mile Styles people showing evidence that they didn't get permission. I need to see that before I could really say that, okay, they did this. But this being a fucking Fortune 500 company, they should know that if you're getting songs from Eminem, you need to get the publish like that for sure. And he's out of all artists in the world right now, Eminem is one of the top 3 where it's like, yo, I'm running the company, for example. I need to see his paperwork before we put any MP3s or whatever the fuck on our app. He's the main one I need to see paperwork from. I need to see paperwork stating with his signature. Actually, no, I need to see him in person. I need a voice verification. Like, hey, we have permission to use your song, because I don't want you. I don't want Dr. Dre. I don't want Snoop. I don't want 50 Cent ever coming after me. Cameron right now, especially with the way shit's been going on for him. Like, I don't want to be on the other side of any legal shit with Cameron ever. So I put him on that list too, because it's like the way him and Mace going at Dame, and the way he went at Jim Jones. Nah, he's also on that list too. But that's crazy. Like, I would, like, as an app with all the information in the world, all these fucking people that you got working for you, you're at the top of a Fortune 5. Like, you spent all this money counting billions, but you didn't know that you got to get permission before you throw Eminem songs on your app that a million billion fucking people have. Like, them niggas gonna bootleg his album through that fucking app. Like, what are you thinking, bruh? Allegedly. That's if this lawsuit shit ends up being true. Despite their not being licensed, the recordings of the 8 Mile compositions have been reproduced and synchronized with visual content. Oh, yeah. 8 Mile Style is the owner of 243 musical compositions, including Lose Yourself, The Real Slim Shady, Forgot About Dre, and other notable releases from Eminem. The suit acknowledges that Meta has removed several of the 8 Mile compositions from his music libraries in the preceding months, including Lose Yourself, but states that a karaoke version, a piano instrumental, and one regular cover version by a different artist are still available. That's true too. And on top of that, that's a fact. They do have a lot of people on the app who are doing covers of people's songs without permission. And that's kind of what I was speaking about when I did that video on why I don't like the beat tutorial videos live, whatever the fuck I named that shit. I can't even remember my own shit. But I gotta go see what that shit was called. But that's kind of what I was getting at. Like, people are doing covers of these things to benefit off of it. This, in addition to other prominent Eminem works which remain available on Meta services, the company's lawyers claim, citing Till I Collapse. Ooh, Till I Collapse. That's my shit. I'd be hurt. If I was Eminem, I'd be, because these are all fire songs. Till I Collapse, legendary. Lose Yourself, legendary. I think that's an original. I don't think he sampled, but that's his baby. That Lose Yourself made him so much fucking money. Like, and on top of that, I gotta say, that's low key one of the best hip hop songs ever written. That's definitely, it's not my favorite song, but as far as songs ever written, that's a legendary song, because that song describes like half of the fucking movie in the first verse, and like it all rhymes. Like, it's like he was barring the fuck out. Yeah, like, so for example, like when I do a short, wait, let me think about this. I've done shorts with I think I've done some shorts with music, and like it'll like give you the option. Wait, fuck, what was it? Oh yeah. So for example, whenever I do a short of a vinyl record playing, whether or not I type in what the song is called, the YouTube scans the audio, and they lots of times find the song, because I've been testing it. They find the name of the song, and they have the information, and they have like the whole information of the song. But then I can't remember if when I upload it or it pops up later, but later, like, it gives people the permission, or I think I have to assign it, but I can give people permission to use the song to make a short. So for example, like I have a Mad Lib vinyl. I play the Mad Lib vinyl. I make a short out of it, even though it's not my song. YouTube like register, or they already have a registration on it, which is why they're able to show what the song is. And then after they register it, it makes it easier for other people to take that clip that I selected for that short and use that audio for their video. So it's like, I mean, maybe possibly they get the actual song pulled up since YouTube has the info for it. But I think that the way it works is like they're using that specific portion that you selected for your short. I think that audio is going over their shit. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I have it twisted. I know Instagram has something similar. I don't know if it works the same exact way. But a rapper I listened to, he put out a new song years back, and like he made a video basically telling people like, hey, like do this to use this song in your short, and we're gonna pick the best short and you get a shirt or some shit like that. But the suit alleges that Meta's rampant infringement extends beyond allowing users to upload copyrighted audio to its platforms. This case involves Meta knowing infringement of the 8 Mile compositions by the first reproducing and storing them in Meta's online music libraries, and then distributing them for users to select and incorporate into their own photos and videos made available for public streaming on the user's WhatsApp, Facebook, and Instagram accounts, the complaint claims. The publishing company is seeking monetary damages, including actual damages for the diminished value of the copyrights by defendants' theft of them, lost profits, and defendants' profits attributable to the infringement. Alternatively, the company is seeking maximum statutory damages for willful copyright infringement for each of 8 Mile Style's works, which would amount to $150,000 per work times 243 works times 3 platforms for $109,350,000. Holy shit. 8 Mile Style has also requested a permanent injunction to halt ongoing infringement. Meta has licenses with thousands of partners around the world and an extensive global licensing program for music on its platform, a Meta spokesperson said in a statement. Meta had been negotiating in good faith with 8 Mile Style, but rather than continue these discussions, 8 Mile Style chose to sue. Yeah, I mean that's the reason why I can't accuse them of shit yet, because I mean their side of the story, or so far the only spokesperson that spoke up for them was that he said that Meta had been negotiating in good faith with 8 Mile Style, but rather than continue those discussions, 8 Mile Style chose to sue. So I still haven't heard their side of the story. So I guess over these next couple months, if I try to keep an eye on this shit, if I even remember, I mean, I would like to keep an eye on this because I'm curious to hear what their side of it is, because if it turns it like it could easily be debunked if they have been in negotiations the whole time and then some communication got lost or mixed up after someone on either team got a new negotiations person or some shit. But the legal filing comes less than a year after 8 Mile Style lost its copyright infringement lawsuit against Spotify after 5 years due to a legal loophole. In September, a Tennessee judge ruled that while Spotify did not have the proper streaming license as the publisher claimed, any imposed penalties would have fallen on Cobalt Music Group, a royalty collection agency. In the suit, 8 Mile Style sought nearly $40 million, claiming to not have received payment for billions of Spotify streams. So I mean, this music game is fucking dirty. This shit is fucking dirty, and that's another reason why I put my music on Spotify the way I did. I only put a small portion of my music on that bitch because I do not trust them motherfuckers at all. And it's crazy because the pressure from the fans is, oh, you don't have your music on Spotify, you're not a real musician. Oh, it's not on iTunes, you're not a real musician. And then you put the shit up there and you pay that monthly fucking or the yearly fee or whatever the fuck, and then no one's there to listen to the shit. But this is, and that's the thing, like Eminem, he's a big figure in rap. I fully understand him suing all these people for all the fucking line stepping. But I know that he also had someone, like, I think there was an engineer who got sued for like stealing his fucking music out of his studio or some shit, or stealing like a hard drive of like shit from his computer, trying to think that they were slick and would get away. It's like, bro, I would sue all them niggas. Like, I hope he sue all them niggas, to be honest. Like, Detroit. Put that shit on Detroit. Yeah, and that's a problem too. Like BeatStars. Like, I remember for a while I was thinking about putting music on there, and I remember I waited out for a while. I was like, let me see, and I'm kind of glad I didn't now, because I don't hear about that company no more. Like, it's maybe because I'm not on Instagram. I'm not on Instagram no more, so I don't really hear about that shit no more. But even so, like, by now I would have figured. You know what? I feel that's another thing that K-Dot kind of changed, because like all the producers that used to be getting on before Not Like Us came out, a lot of, like, at least in these last couple of years, a lot of them were coming from BeatStars, and the dude who produced that track for LiAngelo Ball, like, or the two dudes that produced that track for LiAngelo Ball, like, both of them were from two different sides of the earth, and like collaborated on a beat through that fucking program, and then like, I don't know where they are now, but like all those beats don't even fucking matter now, because it's like after GNX dropped, everything changed. Like, now producers really gotta get creative, because it's like that whole like when I didn't even listen to Young Thug's album. I have no plan to, but the little piece of one of the songs I heard, it's like, bro, like that shit was flying in 2021, but this is 2025. Shit's changed. Like Drake is off the fucking radio now. Like, this shit is different now. Like, niggas need to get in the studio and make some different beats. Like even when I play that skate game that I streamed a couple days ago, like they got so much different music on there, and it's like, when I look at all the albums I've been reviewing too, like, I think everyone's expecting like all my albums to be like hip hop albums, but it's like, nah, like we're reviewing all types of different shit just made by black artists. And Flying Lotus did a sci-fi album, a sci-fi movie, and he produced the soundtrack for that sci-fi movie, which ended up being a sci-fi album. I gave that shit like 5 mics, because I was so impressed that this hip hop producer made a sci-fi. I think he's the first black musician to make a sci-fi album. On top of that, maybe I'm wrong. I need to look that up. But I was so impressed by that shit, and I gave that a 5 mic album review. But no one watched that shit. I even showed the trailer. When I reviewed Clip's album, I played their music video that they had just dropped earlier that day. And I can't get that video monetized because I did that shit, but I did that shit so in that way anyone ever goes back to my videos, there's like little pieces of what was going on at that time. Yeah, like the sci-fi album is called the Ash movie soundtrack. Actually, you know what? Fuck it. Let me pull that shit up right now. I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. I know that shit is gonna be like right here. This one right here. So Flying Lotus Ash soundtrack. So I gave that shit 5 mics, but I played the movie in the Discord. The movie's alright. The movie's alright. It could be better. They needed more budget, but the soundtrack is fuego. The soundtrack like is something I could listen to late at night, and it's crazy because I've been to a Flying Lotus show, and like even then, like at that show, he was playing a bunch of dope ass shit, but I had no idea that he could make sci-fi music. So when I listen to that album, I'm just like, bro, what? Like, it's a legit sci-fi album. That shit sound like it sound like Alien. It sounds like Alien, like one of them Alien movies. Like, it sounds like a soundtrack for that, but like also at the same time, it's got a little bit of that like Blade Runner kind of feel, like. But the movie is alright. The movie ain't that bad. It could have been better. But the thing about the movie is they have a good cast too. One of the movies I'm gonna run in Gangland Memes Discord real soon is gonna be The Raid 2, which is a sequel to The Raid Redemption, and the protagonist from both those movies is in this movie. And I didn't realize it until I got the movie. I was like, oh wait, that's what's his name. But yeah, he did a sci-fi album, and I thought that shit was so dope. But I completely forgot why I brought that up. But either way, like the FCC is kind of in a way like limit. Should I say limiting? I kind of feel like due to the regulations and shit of everything that's on radio, actually, let me say it like this. I feel like due to the regulations that they have on radio, radio is the way it is, and radio has been the way it has been for a couple decades. Like, we all know, it's just pumping bullshit, just pumping. When it comes to hip hop specifically, they pump in a whole bunch of bullshit. But that's another reason too why I select to review the albums I review. Not all my videos are album reviews, but the album reviews I do choose lots of times are kind of left field, and sometimes it'll be the albums I give a high score to. This album, for example, this slipped under a lot of people's radar. This is a GNX remix album, and I put the link to get it in the album description. This album right here, Mr. SOS and Enoch, that's another album I gave 5 mics to, but that's an artist I met years back, and the thing is, he had an album called Mr. SOS for President. That's actually what's shown in the thumbnail right now, which I find funny, because I would so take him for president over our current president. But the overall thing that I want to get across is that the albums I choose to review are different than what most people would expect in order to get like a whole bunch of views and shit. For example, if I want to get a whole bunch of views, I would review Young Thug's album, Drake and Party Next Door's album, Lil Wayne's album, like all those like #1 albums that everybody in the fucking world listens to. If I chose to review all those, I would definitely get more subs and views and shit, but that's not what I'm about. The albums I choose to review are albums that a lot of people aren't familiar with, and even the albums I go back in time that I've known about or used to listen to and bring those into review is mainly just to show people the vast variety that black music is, because it's like that Flying Lotus is an example of a hip hop producer. This is a producer who used to work for Adult Swim. I used to think that they used to select his songs to go on there, but no, it turns out that he actually worked for them. No, I haven't peeped Rap Baddies, but I'll have to look into that. A couple weeks ago, I was playing that movie Bodied in the Discord, and I remember watching it and thinking to myself, like, Mook is the only person missing from that movie, because they had Loaded Lux in it, but Mook wasn't in it, and I'm assuming he was probably busy doing something at that time. But damn, that movie had everybody in that shit. I think Head Ice was in, they had everybody in that shit except Mook. But yeah, like, these albums I choose to review are way different than what people would expect, but at the same time there's a lot to offer, because like this album was basically GNX, but all the songs are remixed. Like, they just got different beats, and some of these beats, or at least one of the beats, I like more than the original on GNX. And Life is Beautiful, the album with Larry June, 2 Chainz, and Alchemist, that shit hit me out of left field. I wasn't even expecting that album. When I heard about it, I was like, what the fuck? When did they all link up? And then I listened to the album, I was like, oh shit, this is fucking dope. So I chose to review that one. West Side Gun, as always. Fredro Starr, half of Onyx, people may know him, but he dropped an album earlier this year, at the way beginning of the year too. That shit was fire. I gave that a 5. At the end of last year, Redman dropped the album, I gave that a 5. Psycho Less and Be Real, the Latino OGs from the West Coast and East Coast, linked together to drop an album. I reviewed that as well last year. Coyote dropped the album not that long, I think around that same time, actually. I think I reviewed it late, but either way, like, I've been trying to choose albums that kind of like show how far hip hop has gone. Like I reviewed a lo-fi album too, but hip hop can go so far. But the thing is, like, organizations like the FCC kind of like putting such a tight stronghold on the shit kind of fucks it up and makes it so it's like limited. But it's like there's so much there's so many like the all right, so I'll put it like this. In the 90s, I didn't realize this. I don't think any of us realized it, but hip hop had a lot of boundaries on it. But now the boundaries have kind of spread out, but there's still there's still restrictions, but the boundaries are spread out. And the reason why I said the boundaries are spread out is because the most recent album that I reviewed, the most recent album that I reviewed was, I take that back. The second most recent album that I reviewed was A-Rap Music, which we all know as a hip hop producer, but he also happens to have a dubstep electronic music background, and which I do as well. But the thing is, like, those aren't our roots. In the 90s, like when people was making beats, when people of our culture was making beats, like no one was thinking electronic music. Electronic music is where the paper is at, though. So like only a few people, maybe more in the future, it'll happen more often, but only a few people from the hip hop community thought to themselves like, hey, like we should also kind of practice and work towards this a little bit. But this album that I reviewed, A-Rap Music, Electronic Dream 1 and 2, because I reviewed 1 right before that. But both those albums are just examples of a boundary that hip hop has exceeded into, because he uses MPC to make his hip hop beats, but also to make this type of music. And shout outs to ODM Slim. I reviewed his album as well. His album is a real good blueprint of what the West Coast sound is, or I should say a branch of the West Coast sound today in 2025. Like that album is real current and up to par and up to date. Freddie Gibbs, Alchemist, I had real high expectations for the album, but it didn't really deliver on the production like I thought it would. So that got the score that it got. But Slick Rick, a lot of people didn't know that he dropped the album this year. I gave that a 5. That shit is fucking amazing. I love that album. And then Rapped Out Clips as well, got a 5. They dropped a fire album. But a lot of people, they didn't peep the 211 album review I did. And as you can see in the thumbnail, like this isn't the part where I'm reviewing the music. This is basically me showing the accomplishments that he's made within this year. This is the shit that you won't see on No Jumper. You won't see on none of these fucking platforms. But 211, shout outs to him. His album was fire, along with the album that he did last year that I reviewed as well. But with this video in particular, this shows when Maxine Waters came to his business, because for those that don't know, 211 not only is an artist, but he's also a business owner out here in my area. And I wanted to highlight that Maxine Waters, which is a prominent black, I don't want to say politician, but I know that she's a part of something related to that. But she came to his store, which is not that far from my area, to show support. And they had like a whole, long story short, it's real dope to see a black man, not only a musician that you listen to, but just a black man in general, not only reach success with something that they believed in, but also to reach the heights of having someone who's on TV and like involved in politics and getting funding put in the right places coming to support that store. I think that's just dope as hell. But the reason why I'm bringing this up is because these are the type of videos that people don't really pay attention to. Like when it comes to my channel, like the videos that people are more likely to watch are the albums that they've heard of, or the albums that people are talking about right now, which would be like the Young Thug album. If I were to review the Young Thug album right now, like that would be the main thing that people grasp or pull from my channel. But at the end of the day, it's all about highlighting what the black music is, whether it's hip hop or even just showing that hip hop reached out to this other branch, and a lot of people aren't doing this and possibly could see this and catch up. But also to show like Flying Lotus made a sci-fi album. Like I still am just like blown away by that shit. I might listen, I'm gonna listen to that shit tonight. I'm gonna listen to that shit again tonight. When I reviewed Dr. Dre and Snoop's album Missionary, one thing that I did, and I'm really glad that I did, this got 396 views. This was pretty much right when the album dropped, and because it is a Snoop Dogg album, that's guaranteed to get more views than all the other videos. But one thing I'm real happy about is I've met his son. Shout outs to his son. I'm not gonna say his son's government name, but not long before this album dropped, they both made an appearance at the Game Awards last year, and it was announced that they both had reached enough funds to start their own gaming company. So that's another thing I pointed out in that album review. I pointed that out in the album review, all the recent accomplishments that Snoop Dogg had done before this album release with Dr. Dre, which is automatically going to be a high album release. But directly after this shit, our community tried to cancel Snoop Dogg. Like, I took all this time into showing all the good shit that he's doing just for our community to fucking cancel him, basically. Even when I reviewed GNX, I gave a prediction of the success I thought the album would have, and it ended up being exactly that. The success I thought it would have is exactly what happened. I said in this album review that all the songs are structured with no intros, no outros, in order to make it so that each song gets platinum status, possibly, just like Damn did, because Damn did that same thing. And I remember saying in the album review that this would be like the ultimate W on top of Drake's casket. And that's exactly what happened. This shit is basically reaching platinum status with all its songs, because all those songs were well thought out pieces of black music. And they were current too. But I'm not about to gloss over every single album, but the thing I want to point out is that all my albums I have reviewed are well carefully chosen. So then that way, this is what I was trying to look for. Off Air, Dr. No's, Lost Beach. This is a perfect example of everything I just said. This is an example of how far black music can get, because for those that don't know, Oh No is Madlib's younger brother. And he's a hip-hop producer. He's been in the game for a while, too. He's one of the people who worked on the GTA 5 soundtrack. And the GTA 5 score. The GTA 5, the score. If you go on Spotify and look up GTA 5, the score, he's one of the artists listed. But this album, though, Dr. No's Lost Beach, is one of the best albums in hip-hop. It's not a hip-hop album, but the fact that he's a hip-hop artist is the reason why I put it in the hip-hop category, because this is a really nice, relaxed album that was intended to listen to during summer, but the way that album was crafted, I listened to that during winter too. It's a real smooth album. Like this is an album to listen to if you're about to sit down with a cigar, or you're about to sit down and read the newspaper with a glass of scotch or some shit. This is the album. I think out of all the albums I reviewed, that's one of my favorite ones, to be honest. I really love the album. But long story short, all that to say that it's the FCC that in a way kind of restricts what we as a people are doing with music, because I feel like the FCC is part of the reason why a lot of the songs that are on the radio had been fucking dumb, ignorant garbage. And I think that also they made it a safe place for someone like Drake to take over artists with talent and actual music structure and thoughts. And now that all that shit is shattered and destroyed, the FCC is basically kind of reaching out to do more than they should be doing, like trying to cancel a fucking night show host. Like, y'all niggas need to get on your fucking job. Like, y'all are supposed to be in charge of the radio, the television, the wire, satellite, and cable in all 50 states. That's what y'all need to do. I don't know if Brendan Carr is ever going to see this, but Brendan Carr, you need a new car. They are supposed to monitor the community. They're supposed to regulate the interstate and international communications by radio, television, wire, satellite, and cable in all 50 states. Not make tweets about what channels they think they should be taking off the air. And on top of that, like, the fucked up part about all this, and after I say this, I'm gonna close this out. But the fucked up part about all this shit is that I literally just streamed a video game that's free, that I was telling people like, yo, this shit's free, y'all need to hop on this. This shit is dope as hell. Just for everybody online to bash that same game. And then I watched that company that made that fucking game just sell the company to some Saudis in Saudi Arabia. So this is a country that keeps preaching self-employment within the country, but still has a fucking outsourcing problem, outsourcing all work That's how bad you know a country hate black people. When they don't want to put no work in your hands, they rather give it to someone all the way across the ocean just to make sure they don't give the shit to you. And on top of that, like, deportation right now is like the number one job. Basically, that's like the number one job that's hiring. Like, y'all are trying to deport the people that built the country, and along with just giving all the funds and opportunities across the ocean. The FCC is so deeply tied into the current administration. It's fucking crazy, and it's all because our current president has beef with talk show hosts. Like, this shit's ridiculous. I'm just gonna roast these niggas for a little bit, because it's like, how the fuck do we go from having a black president having Boondocks on the air, like whatever other shows were on TV, and we had Dexter, like we had all these shows that were just normal, like they weren't tied into politics in no way. Our president didn't tweet. We even one of the reasons why I got off Instagram, same shit. Like, that shit is basically owned by politicians now. It's like, bruh, how are y'all showing me fucking advertisements regarding politics? I'm only here to look at what artists are dropping albums and this, like, how the fuck. Even when I'm on YouTube sometimes, like, they'll have ads pop up. And I have ad blockers, so how the fuck is the ad popping up? But the ad is going to be some shit that's in some way either related to politics, or they're trying to sell me something, or they're trying to get me to get something related to computers, like virus protection or some shit. Yeah, and that's the thing, like it's gone so far that if those people you just listed were to, if none of this shit happened within this last year, and they were to just get elected, they wouldn't have to do as much work as they're gonna have to do getting elected in the future. Because in the future, they're gonna have to spend most of their time in office cleaning up some shit rather than just moving forward. Because, like, now currently it's kind of like everything drastically changed. Like, in let the politics be politics. Like, I understand that's gonna be a battle within that, but the fact that like all the shit that's happening right now is like so deeply related to it. For example, like this whole EA company that made Def Jam, Fight for NY, NBA Street, NFL Street, like they have a whole long legacy of games that they could remake an HD remake and all that shit, and it would make them so much fucking money. This is an idea coming from a black man, by the way. That's the reason why they're not gonna do it. They'd rather just sell this shit to a company that's in Saudi Arabia rather than take ideas from their community, the people who've put money into that company for the last 20 years. So they'd rather not remake these games that people in the fighting game and sports community have been telling them to remake for like the last 20 years. Like, hey, NBA Street Volume 2 HD remake. How does that sound? Oh, nah, man, we can't. We don't want to pay. We don't want to pay the artist for the licensing of the music. That's really what it boils down to. They don't want to pay the black people that they put in them fucking games to get all the clout for their likeliness and the music. Def Jam, Fight for NY in particular, they'd have to pay Snoop Dogg. They'd have to pay Method Man. They'd have to pay Redman. They'd have to pay Nori. They'd have to pay Ludacris. They'd have to pay so many fucking artists that were in Def Jam, Fight for NY, and they don't want to do that shit because they know Spotify done soak pennies out these niggas. But they don't want to do that shit. They don't want to do that shit. They would rather sell the company to Saudi Arabia. Them niggas just put out Skate, and they have no customizations for no black characters in that game. That's the reason why my character's a girl, by the way. Whenever you watch my stream and shit, my character, she's a girl, because I knew beforehand there's no, and that's another thing with these video games. They never have no creations for custom created character for black people. They never do. They'll give you them Killmonger dreads, and that's it. But them niggas done sold that company. They sold, or they're about to sell EA for $55 billion to some randos across the fucking world. And after that shit, after that, if anyone wants to buy the rights from anything, so that's the thing. Like, I heard that specific dude that we saw at the Crawford fight is a dude who's buying this company. That I haven't found out if that's true or not yet. I don't know if it is yet, but I'm gonna be trying to look into that this week. But back to my page. I'm just gonna run this in the back. Let me go back to the live. Actually, I'm just gonna run this in the background while I talk about this, since this is basically the fucking. This is basically the exact game that they just released, like days before this whole shit came out. Like, cause these niggas just released this game, and I'm over here telling people this shit's dope as fuck, and then they sell their company to Saudi Arabia like days later. Like, bro, what the fuck is going on with this country? Like, y'all just put out a project. You don't even see the successes of this project yet, and you sold the fucking company. So now, when it comes to Fight Night Boxing, NBA Street, Def Jam, like if anyone wants to remake those games, like let's say a company like Dead Space, for example, they want to remake a EA game, they have to pay them niggas now whatever price they want. They gotta pay them whatever price they want. And my whole thing is like, I'm not against like anyone in Saudi Arabia in particular. I'm against our country selling this company to people in Saudi Arabia before considering anyone else. Like, y'all literally looked at the price tag and was like, okay, we can do that. Yeah, we just released the game, but fuck that game. These motherfuckers are on YouTube bashing this shit anyways, except for Poltergeist. He's the only person who's making the game look good. But even aside from that too, like, fuck, there's another. Oh yeah, so that the reason I brought that up is because it ties into that whole shit I was talking about with Paramount. The company that South Park is on, they're basically taking risks every time they do them episodes showing anything related to Trump or Brennan Carr or whatever. But from what I remember, I thought it was illegal to like do content with the president and shit, but maybe I was thinking of different countries. But I wouldn't be surprised if within this next year that shit do change to where like you get executed if you make content on the president. But everything has changed. Like companies are selling, like, oh my god, companies are selling so fucking quick, and the shit makes our country look broke. Like like no one got any notice that EA was about to sell their company. That shit blows my mind. No one got no notice that they were about to sell their company. Maybe they did. Maybe I'm tripping, but I don't think there was any notice. I literally just got this game, and then days later, this company is about to sell this shit to some Saudis, and I'm just like, damn. Like, that means that now, they can decide if they even want to continue the plans that they have for this game, because like this game is early access. There hasn't been a skate game in what, like 15 years or some shit someone was saying. So I'm thinking to myself, like damn, this is a miracle. Like, this is a skateboarding game that I can play when I get off work and I'm pissed the fuck off and just relax, because it's like a nice sunny city where you can just freely go skate. But now they're gonna be like, you know what, we don't have the budget to continue this game. The skaters that play this game, the numbers aren't great enough for us to continue development on this. Let's axe this shit and let's make a new Sims Desert. And that's really how it goes. And like, there's so many people in the world, whether it be in the comment sections of Instagram, YouTube, or whatever, but like, everybody has something to say, but lots of times the stuff that they saying ain't doing nothing though. Like, even right now with this game, like, most of the YouTube community that makes videos on this game is basically saying like, oh, this game doesn't have this and that, which were in the paid versions 15 years ago. And now, because they're saying all that shit, now the developers are listening to that like, oh, you know what, maybe we should add those things back in the game. Well, whenever we do add them, it's going to be a $60 purchase now. But we don't have to worry about that shit. They just sold it to some Saudis. So it's like, bruh, like, I'm looking at our country like, where's the hope? Like, none of us own no fucking oil fields. Like, how the fuck do we get enough money to make shit happen with companies and franchises that used to do shit? Like, it's like, bro, what the fuck? Like, we're basically watching everything crumble, and music is always going to be the savior, but at the same time, it's like we're putting so many restrictions on the next generation. They don't even get to see the full potential of what things can do as far as music. Like, we don't even get to see the full potential of what music can do. I remember back when I was younger, when Tupac used to drop a song, like, you felt that shit. Like, you felt a Tupac song. It's been a while. It's been a while. But thanks y'all for pulling up to this. I'm probably gonna stream on my Twitch later. I might stream Hunt Showdown later if anybody wants to see a crazy, scary Halloween game, because they got a Halloween event going right now and that shit's been nuts. But I got videos of that game on my YouTube channel from like a couple years back. But me and my homie, we just started playing that shit again because they just started the Halloween event a couple of days ago, and that game is hard as hell now. Like, that shit ain't the same. Man, I'm getting popped. Like, these motherfuckers be shooting me from so far away and that shit. But I think I might stream that shit later tonight. But that game's also scary as fuck. So it's like I'm 50-50 on it. I'm not sure yet. I'm about to make me some dinner in a little bit, and now I'm gonna think about it. But peace out, y'all. I got another video dropping probably on the weekend. And in my Discord on October 11th, I think I have an event for SLS Paris. I'm showing that shit in my Discord. I think it's October 11th, but I don't know what time yet. But peace out, y'all.